I wanted to share my testimony with you. And the reason why I wanted to share my testimony because I'm praying that this will help some other women. For years, I suffered with having fibroids. And I'm telling you, when I say suffered, I suffered. And I wanted to take this time just to share with you my testimony and how I I really didn't think I was going to make it out. I really didn't think that I would be here telling you this story. I actually thought that I'd probably still be I'd still be going through. But let me tell you my story. For about the last 9 years, they really got worse, and to the point where it was like a never-ending cycle for me. I was in so much pain. But what I wanted to tell you that even though I suffered, that's my laundry right now. It would have to be making noise right now, right when I'm recording. But anyway, I had to share this with you because there's so many women out there that are suffering and they don't realize that there is a before, during, and then there's after. Prior to the surgery, just trying to find a doctor that'd be willing to take on the task of saying, okay, let's find out what's going on. And that is not an easy one because most doctors, what they want to do immediately is to put you into major surgery, which is going to give you an extremely long downtime. And I was like, I am not having that. I don't want to go through major surgery. And I have this thing about parts of your body that I just did not want to let go of. I figure God put them all in there. I ain't taking them out if it's not that serious. So all these doctors, they wanted me to just have the surgery, just take it out. That's your best choice. But let me tell you something about what God will do. I realized that this spiritual stuff that I don't even want to talk about right now, it is important, but that's not the purpose for this. The reason why I say that you have to be so in tune with God with everything that you're doing, you will end up making decisions, drastic decisions, like life-changing decisions. And when you start doing things on your own and not trusting God to make some decisions for you, you'll fall short. And I had a promise that I wanted to hold on to, and God, I believe that God was going to make it happen, and He is going to make it happen. And so it had everything to do with my fertility, and everything to do with my I just felt like that God, like, you are about to do something, and I believe you. And if you said you're going to do it, I believe it. So that was the foundation of it. So I was like, no, I'm not having the surgery. No, I'm not going through that. So I suffered. I bled to death and everything. And finally, when I came to the end of myself, I then God started speaking to me and told me to go back to a doctor that I was determined not to go back to, but I went back there. And in the midst of it, in that moment, the very doctor that they said don't go back to, I didn't feel like I wanted to go back to, is the very place that I literally got my healing. Sometimes God, you might think you're waiting for God to just miraculously heal you, but sometimes God just wants to hear and see if you're obedient to His voice. And when I went back there, they sent me out to be screened to see if I qualified for a specific procedure. And lo and behold, because of my obedience, I qualified for it. And so they set me up for the procedure. I went in, and even in the midst of that, I was still afraid. I wasn't sure that I wanted to go through it. I had spoken to this one doctor, and at the last minute, they changed the doctor on me. And then, the enemy tried to put in fear inside of me, because he knew that once I went through this procedure that God was going to have a field day with me, and he was going to open up some doors. And I had the procedure, but then he came at me again. The crazy part about it is that after I had the procedure and I was starting to feel a little bit better, I still was not completely better. Can you imagine, for years you're losing minerals and vitamins out of your body through your blood, and you're just not getting enough? I was probably borderline with having to get a blood transfusion, but unless you meet a certain amount, if it's not too low, guess what? They're not going to give it to you. And I was like, Lord, what am I supposed to do? I need something to help restore my body. And I ran into this health plan, and I was like, I don't want to waste my money in doing that. There's got to be another way. But you know what? Sometimes you have to do something temporarily to put yourself in the right position, and which is what I did. I started on this meal plan, and it's called Optavia, and I decided that I am going to try it just to see what happens. I started with the program, and yes, it is a slight investment for it, but at first I was like, I don't know if I want to do that though. I suppose it does work, but you know what? The Holy Spirit allowed me to run across somebody, and I listened. And if anything that I've gotten out of this, obedience is better than sacrifice. But let me tell you, when I did order the kit for the first and I started taking it, according to the way they said to take it, guess what happened? I started to feel better. These meal plans, they're like actually not bad. Let me show you one of these. This is probably one of my favorite. This is actually one of my favorite. I'm going to switch this camera around if it'll let me. It probably won't let me, but anyway, this is the meal plan. This is one of them. And look what it says. Look at it. It says brownies. Yes, I was eating brownies. Brownies. But the crazy thing about this is the ingredients that it would have inside of it, which is what I needed. Let me tell you what's in here. Although it has soy and protein and everything like that, what it also had in here was calcium, calcium carbonate, vitamin C, vitamin B, B12, folic acid, biotin. The reason why I'm mentioning it is because those, and that I didn't even read all of the vitamins that were in there. Everything that my body needed, it was being put back in. And I was eating a brownie. Like, why not? And then they have these bars, and they have these shakes and these different ones. But what I loved about this is what was inside of it. What was inside of it? And what was inside of it was everything that I was losing. The meal plan that I was actually on was I had to eat every 2 hours. My problem is I move all the time. I'm always on the run. I'm always on the move. And so it was like very difficult for me to even try to fix a meal and all that. But with this, what it did was it gave me 30 days of life back in. If I never lose any weight on this program, which is I did. I actually, when I started it, which was kind of like the beginning of the year, I started it. I dropped from 193, 95 or something like that, and I went down to 179 pounds. And I was like, in the middle of all of that, not only was I getting the vitamins and minerals that I needed, but I was also losing weight at the same time. So, like, it was like a good thing, because you have to kickstart your body. But anyway, I wanted to share my testimony. I am going to tell you my ideal weight is to get down to about 145 pounds. And I know nothing comes easy. I know it takes work. But let me tell you something. I could not work out before I started doing this. I couldn't walk without feeling short of breath. I couldn't do anything. And it's when I started this meal plan and I started taking religiously and changing some habits, guess what? I started feeling better. So that's why I wanted to share my Optavia testimony. And I'm praying that if you are interested, let me know. I would more than happy to send you in the right direction. All right. Thanks for listening to me. I'm telling you, you need to try it, and especially if you've had the procedure. All right. Thanks for listening to me. I'll try to do some more updates when it comes to this uterine fibroid and everything, and drops a little bit of knowledge, because I believe that if we share with each other, I think we'll be able to help each other. All right. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.